the approaches in the long run, I both agree and disagree. Both it's not like हाँ सही बोल रहा है. He is saying it from the limited perspective that he knows and understands. जो छोटी सी झलक उसने देखी है while he was working here. A lot of teams did this in Counter-Strike and Dota as well, us included in the past, 2018, 2019. We had 2 international players. So similar rules where you could have 3 local talent and 2 imports. And even for our Counter-Strike team, in fact, our Counter-Strike team, which Bhavin was the IGL for, we also had 2 international players. We had 2 Polish players that we had brought down who were boot camping here and practicing out of here and who played Counter-Strike for us. He is right that it works well in the short term because any of these players, like you can ask any of the orgs that have signed international players what the duration of their contracts are. It's usually 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 year. I consider that short term. I think 1 year, 2 years is very short term. Not to say that it's a wrong approach. It is the right approach to get the result that they want, because right now the primary focus for all the teams is to qualify for Ascension and then win at Ascension to make it to the franchise league where we are now. In that sense, yes, 100% do what you have to do to make your team win. Get your slot, फिर करो जो करना है. When it comes to growing the scene, I don't know how many people are actually here to grow the scene. If that's not their purpose, then why does it matter? Like, let them just do what they're doing and grow the scene in their way, because they will compete, they will go up against the best of the best. Either they will qualify or they will not qualify, and that's about it. If we were the ones competing in the domestic league and we were the ones that got 2 imports in, I would ensure that those 2 imports, at least at the minimum, create 20 new athletes out of India. Then it's worth it. फिर 2 import लाओ 6 महीने के लिए, 1 साल के लिए, ensure they grow the region, grow the talent and generate 20 new athletes from India. Sure, then it's a win. Then it makes sense. Then there is an actual purpose to it. If you're just doing it to win, sure, there's nothing wrong in that. You can. It's your org. We have done whatever we have done so far to get to where we are. I expect every org to do what they have to do to survive. Because remember, the first thing is survival. If you don't survive, it doesn't matter how big you are, how good you are, how many wins you have. If you cannot afford to pay rent, if you cannot afford to pay salaries, if you cannot afford to survive, you will shut down, and then all of this effort that you're doing is absolutely useless. Then it doesn't matter whether you have 1 import, 2 import, 20 imports, all Indian. It doesn't matter if you can't survive. If you can't afford to stay open, if you can't afford to pay salaries, if you can't afford to pay rent, if you can't afford to pay electricity, if you can't afford to get the gear, equipment, pay for travel, everything that is required to run an esports org, to put the right team together, not just the players, the back-end management. What's the point? What are you even doing? Because then you're going to have to shut down and not survive. So, इसीलिए I said I both agree and disagree at the same time, because it's not as simple as, it's like saying government को ये कर देना चाहिए था, सचिन को ऐसा शॉट मार देना चाहिए था. It's